Today we're talking about the 6.6 Duramax diesel engine here, and primarily we're focusing on the fuel delivery system and why it's important to make sure that we always replace our fuel delivery lines to the injectors. And Ed here has some really good knowledge when it comes to some of the reasons why we should replace those and why it should be recommended every single time for every single injector, whether you're doing 1, 2, or an entire set of 8. So Ed, can you give us some reasons why we want to replace these lines on the injectors at the time?
Thanks, Corey. Absolutely. The delivery tubes on these actually have a tapered seat or compression seat. So when the seat is put together and torqued down properly, it actually form fits that line to the seat on the injector. Once those are removed, the odds of it ever getting back into exactly that same position again and causing or creating the same perfect seat that it had originally is just almost impossible to do. Therefore, we recommend replacing the delivery tubes on these with every use. In addition to that, when you're taking these apart, there are other things that can occur. Corey, why don't you show them what else happens here on the engine itself?
Yeah, and here's the thing. When it comes to these lines, unfortunately, the way that they're located on the engine itself, they're very susceptible to having debris around them, and especially at the time of removal, getting debris in them, on them, or around them again. And what happens is, this is a common rail system. We don't want any debris getting introduced into those new injectors. And unfortunately, again, on this particular system, it's very easy to do. I'm going to get you a closer look of where these injectors are seated and where these lines are seated and show you exactly what I'm talking about as to just how easy it is to get that debris introduced into the new injector.
Okay, thanks, Corey. Well, with the magic of film and an engine on a stand, so let's get a close look at where these delivery tubes actually reside. So the one we've removed here is here. As you can see from all of the dirt that is around here, simply by removing these without cleaning any of the loose dirt off, as you remove that, you run the risk of getting dirt either into the inlet of the injector, into the inlet of the rail, or collecting more on the tube itself. So if you reuse the tube, you run the risk of getting that dirt cycled back into the system or into the system. You always want to make sure that the injector, if it's not coming out and being replaced, you want to make sure you cover that, keep dirt from getting into it. The same with the rail opening as well. Hopefully this will help you in having a more successful installation on the delivery tubes and injectors on the 6.6 Duramax.
Another good point to make is when we're doing the removal of the injectors and the injector lines, it's always good to take some shop air, clean around this area, and I think, Ed, you'd agree with me, there's a lot of debris that can build up over here. We have dirt, we have leaves, we have just the environment that can build up around. And what can happen is, as you remove those injectors and those lines, that debris can easily fall down to those inlets that Ed was just talking about. And that's important. We want to make sure as much of that debris as possible gets away from the system as we're tearing things apart and getting ready to put things back together. Wouldn't you agree?
Absolutely. What about when we got the components out, we're installing new injectors, new lines? What care should we take when we have those laying out on the bench?
That's a great question, Ed. So when we get the injectors in, one, they're always going to have a rubber cap on the inlet on the injector itself. We want to keep that on until we actually get the injector into the engine itself before we remove that cap. We want to put that in, keep the cap on. Same thing with the line. What we want to do there, Ed, is when we pull that line out of the box, we should be ready to install that line at the time we pull it out of the box. Because again, it's not about the debris we can see sometimes, it's also about the debris we can't see.
Right.
As Ed has stated in previous videos, you know, it only takes a small amount of micron level debris to get in these lines and cause catastrophic failure in the injector itself. So before we put that line on or take it out of the box, we want to make sure the injector's in. We're ready to put the line on, then we'll remove it from its packaging, put it on, and we'll reduce just about as much possibility of getting debris into the system. That's a great question, Ed.
And that's great advice. Make sure that everything is kept clean before you install it, so when you do get it together, it has the best opportunity to be successful repair. Very good.
Ed, thanks again for joining me.
Thank you, Corey. Absolutely.
Hopefully now you all have a better understanding of the easiest ways you can keep debris out of the system on these 6.6 Duramax and minimize the risk of having any type of issues in the fuel-related system when it comes to these lines and the injectors. Thanks for watching.
Thank you.